The questions can be asked at the end. I have some FAQ ready, but we can still take some questions in between that will hamper the flow, of course. And I need to show you the entire system of mine in 90 minutes. And whenever I ask a question, do please respond. I thank you to be here, and I'm super excited to share with you some very powerful principles that can help you become an engineer of growth in the next 90 days. In fact, you can start learning a part of it here in the webinar itself. If that excites you, then type excited or ready to learn. This webinar can change you from just an employee to an achiever. It will help you stand out in a crowd. If you operate in a reasonably big setup that has lots of scope of growth and somehow you are stuck or not allowed to move or confused, then this webinar is for you to help you find out your unique roadmap. As I did, I worked for 6 organizations so far in the last 12 years, grabbed the most significant projects of the organizations, and in the process trained 18,000 professionals and colleagues who also are leading in their field. Worked in 16 states, directly or indirectly, and it has worked everywhere. It still works. Since I have started my online journey, I am here because I'm an online coach now, so it'll work for you too. By the time you leave the webinar, you will be a wiser person. It will be time well spent for you. I guarantee that. Let us set some ground rules. There is no recording available to you, so you have to spend the time in the webinar till I'm here so that you learn whatever you are supposed to. This webinar will go for 90 minutes, so you have to be here till that time. Cancel all appointments that you might have in between, so that during this time you can you don't get disturbed or you don't have to leave halfway. If you are going to stay here for the next 90 minutes, type I am in. Have a notepad and pen ready. That is because you may come across one idea that change your life the way you think. I learned one idea someday when I was part of a webinar of my mentor, and I learned the context. I generalized that one for further learning, and I'm still learning, I must say, that we can utilize our time better by emphasizing our strength. Keep the notepad and pen ready for that. Today, I shall be revealing a 4-step blueprint of leadership growth using resourceful influencing, an unusual way to achieve significance. We don't give much thought to that, but that is one area which we can manipulate to find our growth, as I did. So this is for mid-career professionals who are full of self-confidence, motivation, who are trendsetters, think out of the box, who are very resolute, very proactive, punctual, team person, servant leader, strategic thinker, idea generator, planner, intellectual, people affair. They do people affair very efficiently, tireless idealist, administrator, entrepreneur, with 5 to 12 years of experience, but are feeling stuck and unfulfilled right now. So what is in it for you? A unique success roadmap, guaranteed noticeable change at workplace. You will become the way you only can. You will be irrepressible after you learn the tricks. You will be a happier and fulfilled person, and you will know what has happened in life has been for your own strength only if you give sufficient mind to that, right? Who I am? I'm Sangeeta. I am passionate about building resources and resourcefulness. So far, I have trained 18,000 professionals to impact about 1 crore lives since 2008, and they are doing great themselves, enhancing people's lives in many ways. Many more like them are required to take the baton forward. And why I'm doing this? I'm doing this so that mid-career professionals like me will achieve their potential by taking the right step all the time. They lose their path, lose their direction in between. That is why this course is away from negativity in life and distraction thereby. Global issues will be resolved much quicker. Anything local is global these days. You know, climate change, for example, anybody and everybody has to contribute right now. My defining moments came when, as a teenager, I heard my father saying that people working behind the stage are the main contributor towards many, many more achievements and good things happening in life. Nobody likes to be the kingmaker, of course, because they are behind the stage workers, because it doesn't bring the limelight to them. But if, like say, many people have said, my super mentor also says that if you allow the credit of the achievement to go to others, you can achieve enormously. So if you, for example, I can give you the case of a football field. When when a person kicks the ball and gives it to a person who is at the right position to kick it to the goal post, that person becomes the goal scorer and everybody knows him. But the person who plays that ball to this particular striker, that person doesn't get known. But don't you think that this is something, a very, very, very important place and role that that person plays in the game? So how my story began when I started as a social researcher in a very big organization, and where I came across two stories. My father incidentally was working in the Hirakud command area, where he every day told us the stories of the displaced and how a water, a place which is supposed to be water abundant, that becomes waterlogged, which means water is so much more is there that nothing grows out there. So becomes waterlogged. And the people who get displaced, they displaced from their farmland, which has been cultivated for thousands of years, and it has been trained, we can say. And if after displacement, they actually are given some land, but that land is not trained, so it will not be productive that much. So these people become poorer and poorer, even though there is enough compensation. There cannot be enough compensation because money doesn't stay, right? And they don't have this know-how to roll that money to become richer. So they spend in something, they buy vehicles, they buy land, they buy houses, they make houses, and then there is nothing for them to live for. So that is what they become. So when, as a social researcher, I was then was given a project on a recent dam being constructed and the displaced people. So I knew the stories of Hirakud, so I wanted to know the similar stories of this displacement. But you know, those stories never came to me. And when I asked, people said, people in my setup told me that that requires enough huge effort to capture all those things, and 95% could be done within the resources. And so so when I I was pointing out to them that only 5% more effort could have brought all those stories about those displaced people. But you know, most leaders do not contradict what is established. They don't want to go against the government norms about what is perceived as development. So and then the second story that my father had told, that in government what happens, people for quite a substantial amount of years, they are not allowed to take decision making, not allowed to participate in decision making. So after, suddenly they are promoted to strategic roles where they have to take decisions. So if If 20 years or so of your career, if you haven't taken any decision, how can you take decision? That is why decision making is so delayed in a government setup mostly. This is not a generalized statement, it is just an observation that happens in most of the cases why people can't take decision. So that was also my worry as to if I cannot take any decision or cannot participate in any decision making, then how can I also take decision in the later stage of my career? That was my worry. So, but how to participate in a decision making without any friction? That was my worry as well. So the after some time, I started realizing that if you allow the other person to take credit, if you supplement and compliment the other person, then that person will allow your opinion to be counted. Most of the people do not want to play second fiddle, so they do not want to be the kingmaker. So that is what has been established in my experience as well. So what do you think? What is better, credibility or supremacy? So if you are leading in a place, if you are not leading in a place, then you can establish your credibility. If you are leading a place, then you can have supremacy as a fresher or as a starter, or if you are in a mid-career stage, you are probably a manager, a upcoming team lead, but you are not the ultimate decision maker. So you have to have your credibility established everywhere so that your voice as a decision maker can be heard. So that was my story as well. So after some conflict at that workplace, I joined a smaller organization thinking that I'll be entering a senior management in a smaller organization, so I'll be able to take part in the decision making. And because that smaller organization is working very closely to the field, to people, so I'll be enjoying, because I always loved somehow from my father, influenced by my father, to work with people so that you know so much of their perspective. You come to know what they don't know, and then you understand better. You can play a mediator in between the government and the people. So here actually I was in a very satisfying role, and here the break happened in my life. Here I was sent to HR training. When I came across two senior people of a big organization in that training, I was from the smallest organization and they were from the biggest organization. And since it was a HR workshop, so everybody was supposed to present their HR policy in that workshop. My organization didn't have a HR policy. So I took one day to design my HR policy and present it. So that impressed everybody in the audience. And when I applied in that big organization, actually I was recommended there to be hired. So I was hired to a bigger organization despite having any qualification. I didn't have that qualification, like say I didn't have an MBA, I didn't have PhD, which is what required in that organization at that time for the position that I was applying for. So this was the first instance of resourcefulness, where despite not being from any HR background, I didn't have any qualification on HR, but still I applied what according to my aptitude, and I used my common sense. This is where the first idea of resourcefulness came to my mind, that even though you don't have the skill, the qualification, the experience, still you can influence the decision of a bigger organization to whatever you want, if you have the resourcefulness, because people want the work to be done. So I was there. I was not sure if I can accommodate myself out there. Teams were big. I was hired on recommendation. So I was creating surprises as to how I was hired. I had some social research background, so I was into the social research background then. But and again, the same thing happened that I had to go to field to gain knowledge about whatever research points were being discussed. It was about how the microfinance is influencing and impacting people in general, how it is helping them in their social well-being. So unless you go to the field, you don't get this thing. But my boss, my immediate boss, didn't agree. But then the chairman of that company was my mentor. Later on, he became my mentor. That time he was a super boss. So he was Mr. Vijay Mahajan, a globally known finance person, was part of the finance commission also. He was telling everybody to go to field, get closer to the field people so that you know. It is a pyramid-like structure. The people closer to people, the rank that is closest to people knows the most. So the knowledge becomes a pyramidal structure, because the more distance we become from people, the less knowledge we have. So that is the first time I thought, if my ideas get across to Mr. Vijay Mahajan, then it will be a great jump for me, because my ideas are similar to his ideas. So that is where my confidence started to build up, because no, I was looking at very uh, influential and talented, multi-talented people, leaderships at that position. I have just come from a very small organization, so there was a lot of apprehension within me also. So Mr. Vijay Mahajan was asking a team lead, a apparently very brilliant team lead, saying that you can handle things like a hero. You are multi-talented, but all the people in the second fiddle or this third rank, they might not be that talented. So still they can be good leaders if you allow them to. And the thing is to leverage everybody's potential to make a good team. And a good team is a good team when there are second rank leaders, there are third rank leaders. Leaders should be gradually grown up to lead the companies. That is what leadership is all about. And people can have different potentials, different strengths. Still, they can come to the top position. A leader doesn't have the same kind of set of qualities. Everybody can have different strengths. Still, they come to the leadership position by leveraging the team potential. So it struck me then, despite not having perfection in everything, I could still be a leader. That was the leading point. And then wherever I was, I was that was a super boss comment, right? That was a situation of a workshop. But everyday work, there was certain kind of wall I was hitting, not allowed to add what I was thinking to be true. I was just into that setup, so I was not allowed to comment on anything. Like say whatever I was thinking, there is not enough evidence to prove it, so was not getting accepted. There was skill gap also. It was a social research thing, and hardcore statistical research was required. Or my boss was trying to prove something statistically, where I was trying to I had trained myself to prove things with hard evidence rather than statistical thing. Of course, she was right in her way, but I was thinking that slowly I would come to that statistical strength as well, if the data collection part is okay and strong. So so these were the wall that were hitting me, that time. And another issue was that I now, because of all this world, and the main problem with my boss was she was a nice lady otherwise, but she was thinking at the statistical strength that I should have had being in that position. So that was the main problem. So once we were discussing, and she was saying that if I handhold you, then you can reach up to 9 out of 10 in this setup, and your qualification or your aptitude can be utilized the most. But she didn't have that time. That is what she told me. So I was thinking, why to bother about my weaknesses, which I didn't have? Why should? Of course, it is required in that setup. If I would have continued, I would have made her to support me. Somehow I would have learned that also and supported her. But that was a weakness, right? Why to uh, be on the correcting? Why should one be correcting the weaknesses rather than building on the strength? So that was when I chose to be on field, and I went from that social research to the implementation side. So anything, so thinking on the hindsight, I now know that everything that has happened with me was a very strong point for me. It has helped me somehow or other. It built my skills of statistics. Whatever I know, I now know, right? Any experience helps. People experience, subject experience, skill and intensive, whatever hobby, all that has helped. Uh, you should not delete something from your experience just because there was a very bitter experience with somebody, because you failed somewhere. You should not delete that from your experience. It all adds to build your personality, right? So so right now what has happened is, I, as a result of this 12 years experience, I now have the experience of training 18,000 people, impacting 1 crore lives already, despite all those weaknesses, whatever was there. So if I could do that, and I build on my resourceful influencing aspect, so anybody can do that. But let us see what industry data sorry about that. What industry data says. Industry data says what? Let me share the screen. Industry data says that factors contributing to dissatisfaction and stagnancy at workplace. If you see, factors that causes dissatisfaction is company policy. Just right now I'm running one poll also in the LinkedIn, and it also shows that people are bothered about workplace issues like company policy, supervision, relationship with boss, work conditions, salary, relationship with peers. Those are the main conditions. And there are, but this next graph is very significant because it says about something. The same policy, company policy, supervision, relationship with boss, work conditions, salary, relationship with peers are good for some people while it is bad for some people. So all the people under the same circumstances are not affected by the same factors, even though they are in the same situation. So what is the differentiator now? So what happens when people get frustrated at workplace? They wait for, say, at most 3 to 5 years. They wait for 3 to 5 years. And during this time, there is no inspiration, there is no work enthusiasm, and there is no learning. So people waste this time, right? So if you waste this 3 to 5 years time, then actually this is a significant time in your career. And this is where people get stuck and unfulfilled, because this is their own thing. Then I did one market research where it was found out that not all the issues are workplace related, but affecting work performance. If you see these were the issues, and I have listed down those issues. Relationship with colleagues, whatever you are seeing at in white are the professional issues. Those are concerning the employees, but there are also the things are in pink: relationship with spouse, lack of consistency, unsure of next course of action, concentration, planning deficit, self-doubt, motivation, inspiration, friction with friends, lack of self-acceptance, finding more pain than pleasure, something amiss. All these feelings are not workplace issues, which are creating this stuck feeling in people. So why? What is that? So that is what intrigued me. So my mission is to impact 1 billion lives. So helping these mid-career professionals who are otherwise brilliant, and they can become super performing global players by overcoming these small mindset shifts that I have identified, and they can actually impact 1 billion lives in 139 countries. This is something, a little bit of dream I have added to my own thing, but no, 1 billion lives in 139 countries. I want to spread out these super performing global players in different countries, so that this is not get concentrated in just India. It will go to different countries, and people can then take this up and train other people. What? And my system is called the Resourceful Influencer Club. And in the next 1 hour, I'm going to explain about this. How it was for the people who trained by me and impacting lives. This is the project I did during 2011 to 2015, of which I have some photographs. Actually, since 2008 till now, I am doing very huge projects. But 2011 to 2015, I have these photographs. These are the farmers who were recognized by the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, now Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, because of their significant contribution towards agriculture and their knowledge about agriculture. Then when MG Narega didn't work, then these people took up to hybrid mustard cultivation and then broke this record of Madhya Pradesh mustard cultivation. Their minimum is 12 quintal and maximum was 24 quintal per acre, while Madhya Pradesh achievement was 6 to 7 quintal per hectare. So this was this crop was estimated by the Vice Chancellor of Jawaharlal Agriculture University. So it was authenticated data. Then Devti Bai, one of the lady, a farmer who was talking about micro capital. You know, these people are vulnerable because they lose their saving when there is some kind of emergency, and this she won 1.5 lakh cash award because of her contribution. This is a photograph of a community-based federation where of 500 ladies who did this. They were in 2 clusters, and these are the cluster leaders. These ladies managed 36 lakh rupees of corpus themselves. And from Gungat born ladies, they actually, after within 4 years, they converted this area into a food sufficient area, which when I started the project, it was a food scarce area. People hardly had food for only 3 months, right? So this is again the same picture of Devdi Bai, who was felicitated by the then Industry Minister, Mr. Anand Sharma. Another farmer who got award was from MS Swaminathan Research Foundation for Farm Productivity, Agroforestry, and other things. This is a recent testimonial by an intern at the organization where I am working right now. This is just 8 months back. She had given me a testimonial because I taught her how to write a report and how to understand a marketing plan. This is a testimonial from a person of 18 years experience, but somehow he was stuck in a position of joblessness. And since I started counseling him, he started getting interviews for VP positions and all. So let us now get back to the 4 secrets that I have. The 4 secrets of leadership growth are difference, resilience, influence, prominence, which makes you resourceful influencer ultimately, and during which the leadership growth happens. So my system is called Leadership Growth Blueprint Bundle using resourceful influencing technique. And the secret one, the first secret is of difference. It is about thought patterns and response patterns. Thought patterns has 2 aspects: ongoing thoughts and aspirations. Ongoing thoughts is about personality, which is about self, your credibility, the depth you have, how people personality, when you assess yourself, your ongoing self, you assess what self-image you have, and how people assess you, or what impression you make. That is what personality is all about. We go through lot of dilemmas, which is about we feel not up to the mark, we have lot of self-doubt, and then workplace issues happen. You don't know how to handle all those. Then you don't find enough new opportunity to transition, right? Then the next thing is habit. How do we think of overcoming our difficulty, whether we self-evaluate ourselves or not, or are we open to criticism? Sorry. Then there is a lot of self-questions we have in our ongoing thoughts about long-term focus, understanding, setting boundaries with relationships, loss of confidence because of some skill where we have done some mistakes, we are not able to do time management, or we are not good at decision making, or procrastination. Aspiration is stories of change. Then response pattern is about mindset, about habit, perception, action, attitude, and yes, and behavior is whether you accept people or judge people. Relationship is about inclusiveness, synergy, or win-win situation. How do you go about your relationship? Social skills is understand and then understood, whether you have that skill. Contribute, then expect. Then serve, then command. Responsibility, then then authority, right? This difference which sets you apart. How do you think about yourselves, right? Then stories of change. This is about your aspirations. So stories of change, how do you create? If you there are seven aspects of stories of change. If you have a vision, you have the education, objectives, ethics, strategy, inspiration, and partnership. This can be stories of change for you. And if you are looking at these on daily basis, like say seeing of what is invisible, vision is something which is still invisible. It is a big goal. Then education, where you tell, uplift your soul. You have learned all that you have learned in schools and colleges. Now the education is about uplifting your soul. Then overcoming the difficulties, that is what objectives is. Culmination of one values, that is what ethics are. And strategies are essential steps to success. Those are how you make a step-by-step process. Inspiration is about sustaining with consistent behavior, endeavor, and synergy in achieving a common goal. If you can achieve this, then your secret one is achieved, because that will set you apart. Second secret is about resilience, because while you do all these things, there is a requirement of creating this resilience, because you have to be very, very strong about whatever you are doing. And your credibility will be established by cultivating resourcefulness. This is the stage where you actually know your strengths and build upon that. How do you build upon that? Is dealing with ambiguity, where you manage conflicts and opposite directives, managing challenges. You will do emotional intelligence, which is about empathy, self-motivation, vulnerability, where you tell that you are not perfect, you are open to learning. You do communication, perfect communication, participate, and become a servant leader. Positive outlook with work, with colleagues. No work is small for you, no colleague is insignificant for you. And you are a change maker. You always thinking in terms of innovations, trend setting, and breakthroughs. And establishing credibility is the wisdom to see the gift in the pain, the sensibility required to handle adversity, the skill to respond to environments, the empathy to listen and to understand stakeholders, the courage to be a change maker. This is secret number 3, influence, mindset reset, weekly victories, sharpen your saw, integrating passion with the organizational mission. So if you have the knowledge, the experience and creativity, then knowledge and experience, then you can be a creative person. If there is no, life is very hard, then change your perspective. The same things will be very, very different. If there is no door, build a door. So what I have done, how I was recognized, best story in social enterprise. This is a story I worked on. This story, subsistence to sustainability, as I said. This same story, I was recognized as a person in the Mint. And this is with Professor Muhammad Yunus, who is talking about social enterprise. This is Mr. Bijay Mahajan, my mentor, who talked about micro capital, right? And this is a recent influence where I was, along with the finance secretary, talking about affordable housing. So what has been possible for me, whatever secrets that I have just discussed, with that, I did in 2008 in Rajasthan. I did 44 lakh lives. We impacted with 12,000 professionals were there whom we trained. I was assigned with that responsibility. Of course, there are many more leaders. A team was there with whom we could do. We worked in 29 districts. We were working in remote areas as well. So that is the toughness we had in the field. We were very close to people. We had established relationship with the local government officials, panchayati officials. That was the toughness, resourcefulness that we had cultivated. Not only me, 12,000 professionals in about 49 camps every day for 2 months. We did this in 2 months' time. Immediately after this, I went to Meghalaya, where I was there for 2 years, and we established 239 kiosks, and 229 lakh lives were impacted, with 1,500 professionals were trained. These were the kiosks under national e-governance, and from there I indirectly supervised Orissa, Tripura, Sikkim, Maharashtra, and Punjab, about 200 on an average kiosk in each state, right? And these kiosks were connected to the central server at Shillong, and ultimately to the Delhi server. These where utility certificates were given to the people who otherwise had to come all the way, spending a lot of money to Shillong or to Delhi, and these people got it at their doorstep. This was the service that we did. Then after that, I was tracking the microfinance debacle in Andhra Pradesh, where 1.25 crore lives with 1,500 plus professionals were impacted because of the ordinance. These people were became helpless. Access to finance was not there for them, and how it had impacted those people's lives. Then the example that I just described at Madhya Pradesh, where there was a food scarce pocket which was turned into food sufficient pocket in just 4 years time. So people say that in 70 years time nothing was possible. People are still hungry. That is what is told, right? Because there was nobody. If we have people who are little committed to this course, and mid-career professionals are there, if they take charge of such a thing, it is not so difficult as such, because it was possible for me. I have done it. So after that also people are taking over. That place has become a prosperous place in just 4 years time, right? So it is possible. It is possible if there are dedicated, committed mid-career professionals who know their vision in life, then they can do it, right? So this was and then right now I'm working. I also have supervised 300 FPOs with 3,000 professionals and 90 lakh lives. Then I'm right now working on affordable housing and disaster prone areas of Orissa, which is going on. And if that ultimately it will impact 37% of India's population, which is economically weaker section. So this is done by resourcefulness only, and this has no new scheme of the government, no nothing. It just happens with a vision, with a goal setting, with bringing in people together, and knowing where to mobilize who. That is what I had done. And the fourth thing is prominence. When you do so much of thing, then it is not possible that all the time you will be given the limelight, or you will understand you can do everything all by yourself leading. So what happens when that happens? You need to acquire a new skill, you have to take up unprecedented responsibility, then you have to have single-handed strategies. No matter who is doing what in your organization, whether people have sidelined you or people have accepted you, this is growing beyond the immediate requirement. You have to be prepared for the challenge that is coming up, right? So right now I'm training myself as an online mentor, because I know I cannot reach to people all by myself. I immediately need mentors to grow, to be oriented immediately and take over from me, right? So these are my mentors, and I am getting trained. And this is an online client I have who was given a very good testimonial. This is very recent, just last week. So she is still my client, but this was stage 1 of our engagement, where she is trying to get over whatever organizational difficulties she has, and she is on her way to grow up, right? Grow out this present establishment and develop herself, right? So here is my curriculum. This is my flagship course, is Leadership Growth Blueprint with 5 bonuses. This 6 course bundle is designed to endow you with resourcefulness. So the flagship course is about be the person you are meant to be, stand out in a crowd, being a person of solution, be the one you need to be resilient, persistent and consistent, sought after and irreplaceable, live on the edge, entrepreneurship. Day 1, we will be Day 1, there are the videos why resourceful influencing is necessary for you, core values, standing out in a crowd, goal setting, stories of resourceful influencing, unusual leadership types. And in addition to that, there are triplets kind of exercises where we'll be dealing with this this thing, which will furthermore consolidate your learning. And along with that, we'll do group coaching, that is level 2. And day 2 is 4 skills to be successful, recognizing belief and behavior patterns, core values for 90 days, base quality towards resourcefulness, trust building and team acceptance. And the supplementary study will be on this, which will be part of our group coaching, right? Then day 3 will be journey towards a desired goal, learning pattern and journaling, add value and solve problems, contribution as a team member, behavior versus growth, affirmations and new success. This also has 6 triplets of exercises and group coaching, where we will study more and more about the influence part. Then there will be periodical self-analysis along with those 3 days. Here this will be the goal tracker, dream tracker that I have made for myself. This will be created for each of you. See, the goal tracker has to be made because this is a direction. This is like a north pole, a compass for you. Not necessarily it will happen the way we design it, but it will take its own course, but it will help us to give clarity as to what we want in the long run. So the 5 bonuses are internal patterns, thoughts, belief and behavior, mindset at workplace, change in the 90-day goals. Along with that, there will be periodical self-analysis about permit yourself to dream, higher self-esteem, loser to winner and achiever, victory over change, comfort zone syndrome, natural abilities, core competencies, touch base with your strengths at the moment of despair, seva, give when you want to receive, flat out fantastic, next right step, examine past conditioning and blockage. The second bonus is about mindfulness, pause as a reaction, silence as a reaction, being in gratitude, plan ABC, and dealing with ambiguity. Along with that, also we have periodical self-analysis about the thought process, belief system, behavior patterns, rewriting the story every fortnight, craft your commitments, clarify your priorities, observation and implementation, dancing of strategic and imaginative brains, go abstract, create a guardian angel mastermind, appreciate the present circumstances, grow digitally competent, innovation is an all-pervasive mindset which seeps into all thoughts and attitudes. Third is about the process versus results. Tracking along race system, inherent attitude, elevate standards, mindset reset, facing criticism, core intentions. There is a periodical self-analysis for this as well. Then delegate appropriate, talent nurturing, mapping of HR, role assignment, progress tracking, acknowledge contribution. Periodical self-analysis also is there about developing leadership traits. Do I have leadership ability? Am I a thought leader? Do I inspire? Tactical moves or strategic moves? Am I a change maker? Is my long-term goal outlined? Should I initiate strategic moves? Do I trust teammates? What strategic partnership I should forge? Do I invest in team building? Conscious decision making. The final bonus is about joypreneurship. This is about one of your passion and how to integrate that into organizational, whatever organizational goal you have. This is about creative diversion, investing in a new skill, monetizing the skill, social cause, inhabit the world. There is a periodical self-analysis to it also. Can I integrate global teams? What strategic partnership I should forge? Accessing inner gap, equality, inclusion and empathy is mine an overarching commitment across team, organization and the goal. And the goal, conscious decision making, positive formulation of the day, communication with nature, self-interaction before calling it a day, innovative leadership. So these are the four, the entire leadership growth blueprint bundle: influence with resourcefulness, and growing inner strength, building credibility, being resilient, implant influence, then anticipating and preparing for change. And the entire bundle is about 59,994. And the ultimate result will be daily success stories, worry-free existence, career victories, ever preparedness. There will be 14 weeks by which we will have these results, like finding your USP, decide if you are doing what you like doing, making the mindset document, know the person you are at the moment, winning trust of seniors, understand their vision, winning trust of peers, resolve the gap in perception, goal setting, dream like a wild bird, dream tracker, put a time frame to your dream, turning a negative story to a positive one instantly, changing gear to positivity, reinforcement of positive thoughts, shifting paradigm, attitude and perception, reinforcement of positive thoughts, shifting paradigm, habit and action, creating a success blueprint, clarity about current workplace issues, confidence installation, proactive, not reactive, mindfulness, empathy, transition, integration of passion and emotion with work. So the entire 59,000 bundle will not be even 10,000. It will be 5,999 for today's webinar, right? So this is just one time the webinar offer, and you can take this offer if you want, right? So this is all about the course and the what you will learn out of this. So take a good choice and come into the community of mine so that we can interact and work on this further. Thank you.